Hello and welcome to Mangum News. I'm your host, Elijah Mangum. This week we'll be discussing former Miss Mississippi Holly Brand making her debut on The Voice, my review for the Mandolorian Chapter 18, suspects charged in a Gluckstadt chase, House Bill 1310, local backyard burgers mysteriously closing down, the 95th Annual Academy Awards, my weekly weather report, and my exclusive interview with WLBT reporter Quentin Smith. Without further ado, let's begin. Former Miss Mississippi Holly Brand made her debut on The Voice Monday night. She sang her rendition of Faith Hill's Mississippi Girl. All coaches except Blake Shelton, who began his final season, and turned around for Brand. Brand ultimately chose Kelly Clarkston as her coach. The Mandalorian Season 3 continues with Chapter 18, The Mines of Mandalore. This episode is visually stunning, contains solid action sequences, and fun moments. Overall, I'll give it a 8.5 out of 10. Two people had their initial court appearance after shots were fired at Gluckstadt officers during a chase on Thursday. 26-year-old Javante D. Warren was given a $350,000 bond on charges of felony and fleeing in a motor vehicle, receiving stolen property and accessory after the fact. 17-year-old Antonius A. Edwards Jr. was given no bond on the charges of 2 counts of aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer ×2 and receiving stolen property. A large police presence formed on the I-55 frontage road late Thursday after police tried to pull over a stolen vehicle to a 2003 Honda Civic. According to authorities, the car involved was stolen from Canton earlier this month during an armed carjacking. Investigators say the driver refused to pull over and led officers on a chase south along the interstate from Gluckstadt Road exit to Mississippi 463, where the suspect's vehicle took the exit and continued along Gallery Parkway. House Bill 1310 was proposed to the Mississippi State Legislature, and the bill would purge anyone who has not voted in a 4-year period. A confirmation notice will be sent, and the voter can re-register to vote. Mississippi Secretary of State Michael Watson explains.
You're moved to inactive status if you don't update your registration process. If you don't come into the circuit clerk's office, there are a lot of things that you could do to basically re-up your status. Then you will be moved to that purge status after that process takes place.
Others expressed their concern that it would make it harder to vote in the state.
We talk to people every day who said, well, I went to vote a couple of years ago and my name wasn't on the roll, so I just never went back. It's embarrassing to people to show up and not be able to vote. So again, we are trying our best to encourage people to vote, not to discourage people to vote. And laws like these make our work very difficult.
Most local backyard burgers locations have mysteriously closed down. WLBT's Chris Fields has the story.
A drive-through normally filled with cars waiting to place an order now remains empty after closing without any explanation from owners. Now employees say they need some answers.
A phone call is not the way to tell the people that you don't have a job. That's very unprofessional to me.
That phone call coming Wednesday morning. According to employees, the district manager told all stores to end operations and release all workers from their duties immediately.
So I called back and I said, "Are you finna call back and say you were joking?" He said, "No, it's serious." I said, "What you want us to do?" He said, "Tell the staff to leave and customers to leave and lock the doors and just go home. We don't have a job anymore."
Jamal Thompson is the general manager at the Flowwood Backyard Burgers. He tells Through On Your Side that he has not heard back from anyone in the corporate office in Nashville about why they are closing since then. He also learned that their health benefits are canceled.
I went to the dentist. They said there was no coverage. And when I spoke with one of the leaders, she said that the insurance been coming out of our salary check, but there's no coverage. Where's the money going to?
In the meantime, Thompson and his employees are still waiting to be paid.
I've been getting backlash, being that I don't have answers for them. I'm in the same boat you're in. They're calling for their checks. A lot of them didn't get their checks today. They're calling about where their paychecks is. So I don't have answers for them. At least give us our pay. This is what we work for. And why are we putting in for benefits that we can't even use?
We tried calling the company to get a comment or statement about the store closures, but this is all we keep getting.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
For now, the only Backyard Burger location that remains open is the one in Madison. For now in Jackson, Chris Fields. Free on your side.
The 95th Annual Academy Awards, hosted by Jimmy Kimmel, was held on Sunday night, with Everything Everywhere All at Once winning Best Picture and the most awards of the night. The film also won Best Director, Best Actress for Michelle Yeoh, Best Supporting Actor for Ke-Huy Quan, Best Supporting Actress for Jamie Lee Curtis, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Film Editing. Brendan Fraser won Best Actor for The Whale. Women Talking won Best Adapted Screenplay. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio won Best Animated Feature. All Quiet on the Western Front won Best International Film, Score, Cinematography, and Production Design. Navalny won Best Documentary, while The Elephant Whisperers won Best Documentary Short Subject. An Irish Goodbye won Best Live Action Short, while The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse won Best Animated Short. Not To from RRR won Best Original Song. Top Gun Maverick won Best Sound. Black Panther Wakanda Forever won Best Costume Design. The Whale won Best Makeup and Hairstyling. Finally, Avatar: The Way of Water won Best Visual Effects. This week, rain chances range from 20% on Thursday to 60% on St. Patrick's Day. Temperatures will dip as low as 34 degrees on Tuesday and as high as 76 degrees on Thursday. A morning frost advisory has been issued for Tuesday and Wednesday. Can you describe a little bit about your motivations and your journey in journalism so far?
Yeah, absolutely, man. One of my motivations is just being the best version of myself, and I feel like by being the best version of myself, it requires me to walk in my purpose and to do what I love to do, and that's what I'm doing right now, being a journalist. I first got into the business because my dad is a journalist, and so literally every day growing up, wanting to be just like my pops, who's my hero. I used to go to work with him, go out on stories with him, literally shadowing him every step of the way. So from an early age, I knew that this is what I wanted to do. And so I'm following in my father's footsteps. And this is my calling, my passion. And I really don't call it work, because I actually love what I do. And so I come here happy and smiling every day. But yeah, that's how I got into the business, not shadowing, but watching my pops, who was a journalist for more than 2 decades. And so, as they say, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree.
Yeah. And where did your dad work?
So I'm from Tupelo, Mississippi, in North Mississippi. So he first worked at first he was a newspaper reporter. He did print for the Tupelo Daily Journal, and then he switched over and got onto the TV side, and he worked at WCBI News in Columbus, Mississippi. And then from there, he went to work in Tupelo at WTVA. And he's retired from the business now. But while I was growing up, all throughout high school, he was in a part of the media.
And so is WLBT the first place you've worked, or did you work somewhere else before?
Yeah, so I worked at WCBI. That was my first TV station, and believe it or not, the news director, my father's last news director, was my first news director. So that was a cool full circle moment for us. So yeah, I worked at WCBI first for 5 years, and then I came here to WLBT 2 years ago in 2020, September of 2020.
All right. And where did you go to school?
Yes, sir. I went to a prestigious university. You may have heard of it. It's called the Mississippi State University. I went there, graduated from Tupelo High School, and went to Mississippi State University, and got my bachelor's degree in broadcast journalism, and then did a short stint of grad school up in Kent State, Ohio, which is in Northeast Ohio, about 30 minutes from Cleveland, Ohio. Went up there, realized I did not like the cold, did not like the snow, and came back down here and got offered the job at WCBI and been rocking and rolling ever since.
Yeah, and can you tell us, and this is, I've heard, I've been, ever since I started doing this, I've asked this question about, getting an idea of what a day in the life of a journalist looks like. And a lot of people tend to laugh at first because it's never, the common consensus is there's not a set day, but in your best mind, in your best explanation, how does the day in the life of Quentin Smith look like?
A day in the life of Quentin Smith, man, it really just depends, depending on the day. Some days are busier than others. Some days are slow. Some days you got the big breaking stories. But I'll just go over a typical day. So I'm the night side reporter. So I get into work every day at 2 o'clock. But before I get into work, I'm on the phone making phone calls. I'm on the internet trying to search and find different stories that I can cover for the day. So in the evening time, I'll say from the moment I wake up, I'm searching for story ideas if I don't have one already. I'm searching for story ideas, making phone calls. I get my story ideas lined up, and I email them in to my assignment editor to get their approval. I get into the station at 2 o'clock for our editorial meeting. That's where we go over the assignments that everybody has for the day, what stories we're covering. And in that meeting, they'll let me know, like, yeah, Quentin, we like your story. You can go ahead and start working on it. Or we like your story, but we got something else for you to cover. We got something else in mind for you. So after that editorial meeting, which wraps up around 2:30, that's when I have an idea of the story I'm covering. Once I get the story idea that I'm covering, I start making phone calls, trying to see what time can I meet up with people to get the interview for the story, get my interviews set up. When I got to go out and get B-roll, I go out and get video to help me tell my story. And it really just depends. Sometimes I'll get my interview first and then B-roll. Or if I have a late interview, I'll get my B-roll first and then get the interview. So I do all of those things. Once I have everything shot that I needed, I then come back to the station. I guess you can say that's when the fun begins. That's when I start writing my story and writing my scripts to tell the story. Once I got my script written out, I have to send that in to my assignment editor so I can have them proofread my script to make sure I don't have any errors or mistakes or anything in there. And once they approve it for me, I'll go into the audio booth, I'll voice track my story. Once I finish voice tracking my story, I go back to my desk and I start editing everything. Start editing the B-roll, the video I shot, start editing the interview, put everything together. And usually I'll have to do a live element, whether it's in the studio live or out in the field live. So once I get done editing my package, I send it in and go get dressed for the live element, do my live shot for the 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock newscast. And then when I get done with that, Then I come back to my desk and post the story online. So we have it on our website and on our social media platforms. So that's a typical day. That's a typical day.
And, you know, some people go into more detail than others, but you're the first one that's really talked about, you know, what goes into recording your, when it comes to the voice, what you call the voice booth with your recording that. Can you describe a little bit about how, you know, that's recorded and you take what you recorded and put it into into your editing?
Yeah, absolutely. So once my script is approved, I print it out and I take it into the audio booth. And the audio booth is a room we got that's real quiet. It has a microphone, and we just hit record and we start voicing our package. So when I say voicing my package, pretty much reading the lines that I wrote out for my story. And once I get done voicing that, I hit stop record. And we have a system that once you stop recording, it automatically transfers it to your computer. And so by the time I get to my computer, I just upload it from where I just upload it from the audio booth software app that we got. And once I upload it, then I just drop it down into the editing software we use, which is Edius. And I just start editing away until my story is finally finished, and then I send it in.
Yep. And it's interesting, you know, when you're a student and you're doing stories on your own, you have to kind of do what you have to do. And a lot of times when I do when I do stories, whether it be from on my own or at Dark Horse or at school, a lot of times with my MacBook, I just take photo booth on my computer and record myself on that, even though it's not the best quality, but it's good enough for what I have, you know. But I'm excited about when I go to MC and we're going to be taking part in a weekly newscast there. And they actually have more audio, you know, something like you just described, where I had recently gone there for a preview day and they showed us some of the things that they have. They have an editing lab and a place where you can record your voice and everything. So I'm looking forward to that, because when I do stories there, it'll be even better equipment than I have now.
It will be. The process will be a lot smoother. But it's funny you mentioned that, because the way you record your packages, when I was at Mississippi State, that's the exact way I had to record my packages, because we didn't have an audio booth. So I would just go into a quiet room and just close the door, let everybody know, like, shh, be quiet, keep it down, I'm in here. And I would just record it that way. But once I started working at WCBI, now WLBT, they have the real deal audio booth. So I no longer have to use the MacBook. So yeah, and the same will be for you. Like right now, you got to use the MacBook, but there'll soon come a time when you get to step into the audio booth.
Yeah. All right. And tell me, what would be your advice to an aspiring journalist?
That's a really good question. My advice would be, make sure you're getting into this industry and this profession for the right reason. You know, don't get into this profession just because you want to be seen, or because you want to be heard, or because you think it's a quick way to become famous, especially with social media. Don't think it's a quick way to get your followers up or to have a name on social media. Get into this business because you have a true passion and a true love for telling stories, for getting people the answers that they need, to help bring about change, to help give a voice to the voiceless. Because if you get into it for the wrong reasons, mark my words, you will not last long at all. The audience, the viewers, they'll be able to snip it out, and as a result, you'll probably even get burned out or realize that it's not for you. So that's the biggest piece of advice I would give, is if you're getting into this, make sure that you're getting into it for the right reasons. And for those like yourself who are getting into it for the right reason, who truly have a true passion and desire to go into this industry, I would just say, just always put your best foot forward. You know, sometimes things are going to work in your favor. Sometimes things won't. Sometimes you'll get discouraged, but always put your best foot forward, because now more than ever, as journalists, people are clinging on to every word we write, every word we say. So always put your best foot forward and try to give it your best with each story you tell, whether it's the big story of the day, or whether it's a story that many people may not watch or click on, still put your best foot forward and give it your all.
That's all we have for this week. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all on Sunday.